Hey guys, this is Vaughn Kohler, and you're listening to the MFCEO Project. The competition for success in business is fierce. Is there any hope that you can really succeed? Today, Andy talks about how you can be part of the 2%.
Hey guys, what's up? You're listening to the MFCEO Project. I'm Andy, and I am the motherfucking CEO. That's not to say I'm the only motherfucking CEO. You could be a motherfucking CEO too, and that's the point of this podcast. The point of the podcast is for you to discover what it takes to become the motherfucking CEO of your own life. I'm here with my co-host Vaughn Kohler. What's up?
The MFPOD.
That's right. The pastor of disaster.
That's right. The Impaler.
How you doing?
That name is really stuck.
Vaughn the Impaler?
I get quotes or I get posts on IG all the time about that. I'm doing great.
Yeah?
We've said it before, and it's kind of inane to repeat it, but the weather outside is beautiful. I'm loving fall.
It's hard to beat fall here in the Midwest.
It is.
You know, I've been all over the world. I know you have too. It's just something that about the weather right now this time of year in the Midwest. It's crisp. It feels good. It's always a good deal here.
Yeah. It's easy to be in a good mood, but I've run into some people online who are not in a good mood lately.
You have?
Yeah.
Shocking.
They're haters.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what they're hating about? They were likening business gurus and motivational speakers like yourself to the kind of people that run the lottery. You know what I mean?
No.
Okay.
I don't know what you mean.
I'll explain it.
Kind of hard to connect those dots
Well,
here.
basically, they were saying that the people who run the lottery are all about peddling hope, right? They're all about peddling hope that you're going to succeed, you're going to make $1 million. The reality is the numbers are stacked against the average person. The competition is so fierce that there's no human way possible that they're going to win the lottery. And they were saying that that's really what people like. We'll say us. People like us do. We get people excited. We get people hopeful. But they would say, the competition, the business competition is so fierce that you're kind of wasting your time.
This is a constant thing I've noticed throughout my lifetime between successful people and pretenders, okay? People who say they want to be successful who really never accomplish it. People who are successful learn that becoming successful is cause and effect. It is action and reaction, action result, however you want to say it. It's not magic, and people who do not become successful, they believe there's some sort of magic to it, and most people believe that. They believe that there's some sort of little success fairy that flies, and I've said this a million times, little success fairy that flies out of the sky and shits $100 bills on people's heads for no fucking reason.
Right.
Other than, you decided to be blessed with success and they didn't. And the reality of the situation is that people who believe in that sort of magic never make it because they never are willing to do the work because they feel like if they do the work, that there's still a good chance they won't make it. So they never do the work, and then they blame the odds against them. Mm-hmm. But it's the people that I know personally, and I can only speak for myself and the people I've seen, but I know a lot of successful people. I talk to multimillionaires on the phone, through email, every single day, probably dozens of them a day. And I know hundreds of them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Literally hundreds, not 800, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Okay, it's my network. It's what I deal with. It's who I talk to. And if you talk to any of them, they all believe in the same thing, cause and effect. If I do this action, I'll get this reaction. If I put this work in, I'll get this result. They believe in that. And so they go out and they do the work. So it would be very easy to say that same person, if you were to go out and do the work, would you be willing to do that work knowing that you might not be successful? And that person usually says no. Mm-hmm. And they're the same kind of people that'll say, I won't do this extra work at work because I'm not getting paid to do that. And I'm not going to go the extra mile for this customer because I'm not getting extra compensation for that. And those kind of people never move outside of where they, the basic the basic spots in life in terms of success, which would be average, because they're not willing to do anything outside or to take a step of faith other than what they can see factual. And that's the reality, So if you're the kind of person who's going to let people or let the odds stacked against you conversation deter you from being successful or doing the extra work, you're sure as shit going to be sitting on the sidelines of life, saying the same thing this guy's probably saying.
Right.
Oh, it's all bullshit.
Right.
Well, of course it's bullshit if you haven't fucking done it.
Right.
Let me talk to that guy. Let's get him on the fucking podcast. Let's talk to him about how many businesses he's started, how many he's failed, or how many lessons he's learned, or how many books he's read, or how many of the things that he's done that all these successful people make habits of doing. And I guarantee he's done none of them.
Right.
He's just chosen to see, these people are successful. They won the fucking success lottery. And that's what they choose to believe. And that's fine, because the world needs people just like that to work for the people that choose not to think that way.
Yeah, which if I'm not mistaken, you refer to as the 2%.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that? What do you mean by the 2%?
Most people are fucking pussies. Okay? And yeah, you're not going to get on very many podcasts. You're going to hear the host say pussies, but this is the MFCEO podcast, and I like to use that term regularly. Okay? Just like I like to use the term fuck. Now you like to use the term shit. And if it offends your little eardrums, get the fuck away. All right? Most people are pussies. That's the reality, okay? Miserable, excuse-making, underachieving, negative, blood-sucking pussies that ruin the idea of success for most other people because they whine and cry and pout about how life isn't fair. And when they die, they're going to say R.I.P., but it's not going to mean rest in peace. It's going to say, really, I was a pussy. All right? That's what it means.
That's what their headstone's
right,
going to
exactly.
say? Yeah.
Okay? So most people, when it's R.I.P. and nobody remembers your fucking name, it's, really, I was a pussy. Okay? And that's the reality. Most people are, I'm sorry, I'm a South County, St. Louis fucking redneck. That's how we talk here. They're pussies. They're not willing to do the work. They're not willing to take a step of belief. They're not willing to sack up and say, I'm going to fucking do this.
Right.
They just don't.
So if you broke up the general population into groups of 100, how many people out of 100 would you say qualify as that?
I would say probably 70%, man. 70% are going to be just total pussies, all right? They're going to be, I'm going to whine, I'm going to cry, I'm going to talk about how I'm going to do this someday, but they're never going to do it. They're never going to execute. They might execute for a day, they might execute for a week, and ultimately they're going to come in and they're going to say, oh, that didn't work. Okay, they're gonna pretend to give an effort. They're gonna pretend like they tried, and they're gonna talk about the rest of their life on that happy hour bar stool on Tuesday afternoon at 3:00 about how the world screwed them over, and they did the same effort that all these successful people did, and they may have, but they only did it for a fucking week. They didn't make a life out of it, and that's the difference. So I would say
no longevity.
No, they're not consistent. They
Right.
try, they talk, they try, they learn, they do. But they don't do nearly long enough. They might do maybe they do for 6 months when it takes 6 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in their mind, they truly believe they gave it a fucking heave-ho, all in, badass, I tried as hard as I could shot, but it's still, they don't get what it takes.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. You just knocked out 70% of the
Right.
competition.
Right.
You know?
Okay, so that's 70%. Out of 100 people that are going to start the business that you are dreaming of starting, that you the listener right now, 70% of the people are going to fucking quit in 6 months. Maybe 1 month. But I'm going to give them credit. Maybe they're listening to the motherfucking CEO podcast and they're going to stick it out for 6 months.
Right.
All right. So let's say 6 months. All right. Now, out of 100 people, you got 70 people automatically out. All right. And this is why when you look at like starting a business, you think, oh my God, think of all this competition. Think of all of these people that are doing this. How am I going to fit in? 70% of people already gone, all right?
Right.
So that's 7 out of 10 people that you're going to compete against on day one when you're at the bottom of the mountain. And there's 100 people that are doing your business. 70% of those people will not be there in 6 months, okay? So start there. Now, we have 30%. Now we have 30 people left in the same business that you're going to be in, okay? So out of that 30, I'm going to say 20% of those people, so 20 out of the 30 people, they'll act, okay? They will start serious. They're going to try. They're going to fucking listen. They're going to learn. They're going to become students of success. But the minute shit gets hard, the minute things go wrong, the minute their store gets broken into or vandalized, the minute they have a car accident, the minute they get sick, the minute somebody stabs them in the fucking face, okay, the minute an employee steals, the minute their company gets flooded, the minute any sort of resistance comes in and fucking stands in their way, they're going to quit. They're going to fucking quit, and they're going to say, you know what, I did it, but it didn't work out for me. And they're going to say, I wasn't destined for that. Because,
like they're going to take a major blow.
And they're going to quit.
And they're going to fall.
That's right. And, okay, so that's 20%. So now you've got 90% of the people out of the equation. All right? Because here's the reality. Those things I just mentioned, they're fucking hard to deal with. Dude, your mom gets cancer. And don't sit here and think, I don't know what the fuck this is about, because my business partner's mom died of cancer while we were building our business. He drove every fucking other day to St. Louis from Springfield, Missouri, which is a 3-hour drive, but kept our business going.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So I fucking know what this is about. You know, and when I say stab in the face, that's me I'm talking about. I'm not talking, when I say car accident, that's me I'm talking about. When I say stores getting broken into or vandalized, that's me. That's happened. That's happened to us. I've heard this shit. I've lived through it. I know what it takes. And you might have challenges that are different, okay? Because we all have asterisks. There's asterisks to everything I say. And you might have a situation that is harder than the ones that we faced. But the reality is that when most people face serious, life-changing situations when it comes to business, they quit. They lay down. They say, fuck, man, this wasn't meant for me. I'm going to go back to working for, you know, A&A Auto Supply down the street. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's what they do. And then they say that, and they also choose to believe, like the gentleman that you mentioned hating on whatever, you know.
Right.
That's why people like that choose to believe that, because maybe they stepped out and tried something, and then when it got hard, they fucking stopped. All right? So now you've got 90 out of 100 people that wanted to do what you want to do have quit. Okay? 70 of them quit because basically they're just total pussies. Okay? They can't do shit. They can't even balance their fucking checkbook. All right? They want the prize. They don't want to do the work. Most people, okay? 20% can get their shit together, but they can't overcome obstacles. Okay, so now you've got 10%, right? You've got 10% to deal with, all right? So let's take 8 out of 10 of those people. These guys get it, okay? They're decent guys. They're hardworking guys. They're busting ass. They believe in themselves. They believe in the dream, but they don't attack the process on a daily basis. They are not mentally disciplined enough to execute every single day, okay? They will, when things get mundane, when things get boring, when things get routine, instead of becoming great and excelling and looking for ways to improve, they just kind of fade away.
So these guys, they can take a blow. They can take a major blow.
Yes.
What they can't take is the
grind.
The grind.
Right.
Just extended periods of time over
the same
and over.
shit day in and day out.
Yeah.
Executing at 100%.
Right.
You know, they let the routine numb down their hunger. They let the routine numb down their fire. And instead of saying every single person matters, every single customer interaction matters, everything fucking matters, they say, hey, you know what? Don't worry about that today. And they let things slide.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, makes total sense.
Hey, you know what? That customer's pissed off. That's just one customer.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Our product, it didn't ship right. It didn't ship right away today, even though that person ordered overnight shipping. That's just one day. They start thinking like that. All right. So they start sliding. They start fading away. They start going down the hill, and eventually those people get beat and they get put out of business. All right. So what are you left with? You got 70% pussies. You got 20% that they're not total pussies, but they can't handle the bad shit. All right. You got 8% of the people who get it, but their attention to detail and their attention to execution fades over time. Okay. Now what are you left with? You're left with 2%. 2 people out of 100 that started the same way that you wanted to start. When you look and you say, God, there's 100 people that are doing the same thing I'm doing, but only 2 of them are going to make it. 2 fucking %. Okay? Those are the people that got their shit together, they can overcome obstacles, and they stay sharp and they execute play after play after play after play. Those are the people that end up in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that end up with an empire. They're the people that end up whatever the fuck they want to end up with. Mm-hmm. They're the people that get it done. Okay? And it's very easy to sit on the sideline as a 98%er and say, oh, those are the guys that were blessed with the luck. Those are the guys that blah, blah, blah. Those are the guys that blah, 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 blah. You know, it's like the lottery for these guys. You know, oh, you got lucky. Oh, you're so fortunate. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, really? How lucky was I when I was living on the fucking mattress in the back of my first retail store, having a shower at my friends' fucking places? How lucky was I that in 2012 I had a nervous fucking breakdown and ended up in the hospital because I'm so fucking anal about perfection that I fucking lost my mind. You know, people don't get it. They don't get what it takes. Most people are not cut out to do the success entrepreneur route. We just had a podcast about this. I know that. But they're just not.
No, you're right. So I mean, you always say perception, like how you see things is huge. I mean, it's absolutely indispensable. So you're really telling me that deep in your heart you believe that the best way for people to assess the competition out there is, no, you're not facing 100 people or, you know.
This should be an encouraging podcast for people, not a discouraging one.
Yeah.
Okay? And when you look at people, when you look at your competition, and when we say it is a battle of persistence, it is a battle of not quitting, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Most of the people that you compete with on day one in your small business are not going to be there in 3 years. They're not going to be there in fucking 1 year, most of them. All right? You have to understand that if you get up, go to work, educate yourself to improve, okay? Give nothing but your best effort and accept nothing but perfection, you cannot fucking fail. Okay? It's impossible to fucking fail. Impossible. Impossible. You cannot fail. But most people don't buy into that. Most people still buy in to the lottery mindset. And you have to realize that the majority of your competition is not serious. They're either pussies or they're playing business or they think they're business people. And so the good news is if you stop being a pussy and you stop playing business and you get serious and you start killing it on a daily fucking basis, you will be in the 2% by default. Just don't quit. Don't quit and don't let the little things slide, and you cannot fail. It is impossible to fail. So when you're one of these people who writes online, oh, you motivational people are the equivalent of TV evangelists and blah, 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 because I get that shit sometimes too. And if you write that on my page, I feel sorry for you because you just don't fucking get it. You're going to be miserable for your entire life. So let's leave it at this, because this is Thursday Thunder. This isn't a 45-minute or an hour and 10-minute podcast. I'd rather you guys go out and kick some fucking ass, all right? So stop believing in fucking magic, okay? When you're 7 and you're at your birthday party and the fucking clown comes, which clowns are terrifying, if you ask me, but the clown comes and he pulls a little rabbit out of his fucking hat, that's still not magic. He had a fucking rabbit in his hat the whole time. So quit believing in fucking magic. It's not magic. It's action and results. It's cause and effect. It's not mystical powers of fucking universe tap me on the head and shit $100 bill and it hit me on the nose. Even if it did, you would find out a way, if you're in that 70% of pussies, to see that as a negative thing. All right? So stop bitching about the competition. Stop seeing all the ways that you can't. Start realizing that all it takes is for you to execute and not quit, and you're going to become part of that 2%. You do that, you know what your chances of success are? 100%. Now go be fucking great.
Never on the sidelines, I only hustle. Never take a day off.